Shalom, everyone. My name is Jeffrey Greenberg, and I'm the Associate Director of JNFuture for the great state of Florida. Thank you for joining us today for JNFuture Presents the New Food Frontier. Please note that all attendees during the main portion of the program will be muted. After the presentation, we're going to have a Q&A, so please send your questions into the chat. It's now my great pleasure to introduce my friend and dedicated JNFuture lay leader, Eitan Gontovnik.
Thank you for joining us today. My name is Eitan Gontovnik, and I serve on the JNFuture Miami Board of Directors, the JNFuture National Board of Directors, and importantly, for today's conversation, I also serve on the Jewish National Fund's Go Northeast Task Force. So the goal of this task force is to look at development in Israel's north in a holistic way and to create new housing, jobs, education, healthcare, and quality of life opportunities. Our special guest speaker today is pivotal to the success of this important work. Nathan Hoffman is the CEO of the Galilee Culinary Institute, GCI, by JNF, located on the eastern side of the Galilee in the greater Kiryat Shmona area. He is responsible for the strategic leadership and oversight of the Institute's operational and change management processes. Hoffman started his Jewish National Fund journey by helping to start the Arizona JNFuture chapter. He made Aliyah with Nefesh B'Nefesh, another JNF affiliate, in 2017 with his wife, Tutzvat, and settled in northern Israel. Hoffman has over 18 years of diverse experience leading business operations for both startups and established organizations. Please welcome Nathan Hoffman. Yay.
Thank you so much, Eitan.
Of course.
So I will get into a little presentation and then open it up for questions. Questions are the most fun part, so please do not be shy, everyone. It's a lot more fun when you guys have questions, or else I'm just going through a presentation and that gets old. So if you build it, they will come. And that's, something very unique about JNF. They've started something in the north that was really never thought about. The north, for those that have been, is a great time, but it's not usually a destination where people stay. There's not many hotels. There's not reasons to stay in the north. It's cool to go to once in a while, but it's not usually somewhere that people stay, and there's no real big business or industry. So JNF was really at the forefront of building what is being called right now the food basket of Israel. And I'll tell you a little bit about what's happening there, but it really does take a visionary and a company and a group like JNF, for those that don't know, to get involved like they did in the South. They're doing the same in the North. And it's something very unique, which is also why when I learned about JNF Futures back in the day, I really had no idea the work that they did. So thank you all, JNF Future members. Really, it is up to JNF Future for the future, no pun intended, of JNF. You need young, great leaders. You need people that are enthusiastic about the land of Israel, enthusiastic about changing the landscape there. And so it doesn't happen without you guys. So thank you for all that you do. And like Eitan said, I helped start the JNF Arizona chapter. And Jeff, as you see, the beard was a lot shorter here. But that was actually at the Shabbat in the Desert event in Arizona, which is an amazing event for those that haven't been. So my wife and I were really involved with JNF Futures. It was really an amazing opportunity. And I also, kind of task everyone here to also just get more involved. It's, as you see from this progression, I started with JNF Futures. I did startup stuff in Arizona, and I did other things, business stuff in before I came to Arizona. But after we made Aliyah and I came up north, that's when I wanted to figure out what was I going to do next. I was doing some work for some companies in America, but I was in Israel. And I wanted to be in Israel. I wanted to help build Israel. And so it all started with my JNF Future experience, where I met Russell there. I saw him again at a food tech event, and I told him, look, these are things I'm trying to do. Let me know if there's anything, in the area. And that's when we started talking about culinary. And to make a long story short, now I'm working obviously on the GCI by JNF, and it's, such an impactful project that's being worked on that it all started with my JNFuture experience. So I highly recommend everyone just getting, more involved as much as you can. There's so many great people at JNF. The leaders there really are there to help JNFuture members grow to their potential and grow in their careers. And so just use this as an opportunity to really, network and to build yourself up when it comes to the career, whatever you're looking to do, because of all the opportunities within JNF. So that's my little JNF future plug. But it's very important, obviously, the work that you guys are doing, because the donors of tomorrow will have to come from the younger group. So so I'll tell you a little about the GCI by JNF. And look, at the end of the day, you need to have a strong foundation. And like I said, to build this in the north, it's going to take a lot of money. We're fundraising close to $20 million. And so you really have to have a huge network and the right group of people together to make this happen. So, JNF obviously has done so much work here. It's, $100 million nonprofit a year. So you need to obviously have a strong financial backing, as well as the type of affiliates that they have here and partners. So you have to have a very strong foundation in order to make this happen. You also have a major city. Well, it's not a major city really yet, but it's an up and coming city, Kiryat Shmona, which is basically the hub for the north. You have a very young leadership group. You have the top 10 people in the government, or the group of Kiryat Shmona. 4 or 5 of them, I believe, is under the age of 40. They're very, very motivated. They're very interested in changing the dynamic of the north. And so you have to have a major city and obviously some major players in order to create this. And thankfully, we do have that kind of foundation with JNF and the Kiryat Shmona region. So I'll tell you a little bit about the Culinary Institute. What we're doing is creating a center for culinary experience, excellence, and innovation. And basically what that means is we're really trying to rope together all the best that the North of Israel has to offer. We're looking to obviously increase jobs. We're looking to bring more businesses to the North. We're looking to highlight the things that are happening in the North. And so it's all going to happen within the Culinary Institute. And there's 3 pieces of the Culinary Institute. There's a actual Culinary Institute, which is the heart of our institute. There's a restaurant on site, and then there's the tourism aspect. And I'll get into all those and give you guys a current update on where we're at. But it's those 3 pieces that are kind of going in together under this umbrella of the GCI. And it's also very exciting of what's happening, because the North is being heavily invested in by major venture capital. The government of Israel has put a lot of funds into also helping with startups in the North. There's food tech incubators, accelerators that are going in the North and that have already signed and are moving into the North. So, and also for those that don't know, JNF is also putting together a medical facility, and it's very hard to get talent in the North if you don't have medical help. So if you have a child who gets hurt and you're in the North in Kiryat Shmona, you have to drive an hour to Tzfat, or you have to drive an hour and a half to Tiberias, which is pretty insane. So to get talent in the North, you need a medical facility. And thankfully, obviously, JNF is doing that as well as the Beit Asher Food Tech Innovation Center. So that's it for my plugs for JNF. But obviously, it's very important what they're doing, and it doesn't work without this whole foundation, like I was saying. So I'm just going to highlight 3 different areas. The first is our institute and what will make us different. I'll talk about the immersion in terms of our learning, and then the region. So what we're trying to do is we're not trying to create the usual culinary institute that you know of, like the CIA of America or ICE or Cordon Bleu. We're looking to really break down the barriers when it comes to culinary education and in education in general. I mean, look, I'm sure most people on this call have gone to a traditional school, but traditional education is old. You don't learn from books. You can learn a lot from Zoom and online, no question, but at the end of the day, you learn from experience. And so in culinary, you shouldn't have to go through a 2-year program or 4-year program to realize what you like or don't like, to then realize that you're going to leave the field of culinary, which is, I think it's about 50%, the statistics say, and some of the research says that over 50% of the people that go to Culinary Institute go to a Culinary Institute, leave after 5 years. And that's pretty crazy, considering you're going to spend, anywhere between $25,000 and $50,000 on this type of schooling. So I think it makes a little more sense to learn about what you want to be doing before you put that significant investment into your career, to then realize that it's not the career you want to get into. Not to mention, in culinary, it's not like you're going to leave the field and make $100,000 after a 2-year program. You're going to leave, you're going to make probably $30,000. So what you've paid on college is not going to cover what you're going to make, and you're going to be paying back the loans for a while. So what we're trying to do is create a program to where, first of all, you learn about what you really like to do. You can come in with that thought process of what you think you like to do. But let's say you like to create cheese. We will give you that experience of making cheese. We'll give you the experience of making wine. We'll give you the experience in catering, in starting businesses. Will give you those experiences. But at the end of the experience, you can say, well, you know what? I actually hate cheese making. It's the worst thing in the world, and I never want to do it. So you shouldn't have to go through 2 years of a program to realize that you hate doing it. So what we like to do is give you a first discovery phase in the first 6 months of really figuring out what you want to do. The next 6 months, and also this is all being created as we speak. So it's the curriculum that we're working on right now. So this is all kind of in formulation mode, but we're getting close to it. So just put a little caveat on that. So the next 6 months, because I say 6 months, it might be 4 months, it might be 5 months, but we're figuring that out. But let's say the next 6 months is really fine tuning your skills, what you really want to be working on. We help you with those tools. We also help identify the areas of your strengths, what you really do well, and then some of the things that you don't do well that you'll need to work on if you want to get into a career of your choice. So phase one, discovery. Phase two is fine tuning your skills. And phase three would be then setting you up with an apprenticeship in that field, as well as working on other skills. So we really want to help the user. Let's say if you want to become a caterer, then we'll help you with the skills to become a caterer. You don't have to, for example, if we have 3 levels of knife skills, you don't have to get into the 3rd level of knife skill if you want to be a caterer and run a business. You only have to do knife skills number 1, as opposed to going through all 3. So we're helping you with the track and really fine tuning it so that you can get the best experience possible. So when you leave, again, you're not going to leave a program and be a caterer, but what you'll do is we'll set you up with a great caterer who can help you with your success in your future, so that when you do leave, you really have a leg up against most people that want to be caterers and go through a traditional culinary program that teaches you how to cook. When you leave, you can't be a cook anyway. It's a long story, but we're trying to set up the students for success, make sure they're successful wherever they go. And we have 4 basic tenets that we're focusing on in the curriculum. The first is storytelling, which is marketing, branding, PR. These are all things that are not usually talked about much in culinary institutes. So that's one. The second is the history, the cultures, the ethnicities, kind of the backgrounds behind a lot of the foods and everything that's in the region. In the north, you have over like 80 different ethnicities. So really understanding the cultures where people come from, understanding the community is a very important aspect. That's our second pillar. Third pillar is entrepreneurship, so business. So we give you different experiences in business, so you can see if you want to be a chef, you can really see what it takes. Because for those that don't know, to be a chef, it is crazy hours, a lot of time, a lot of energy, 18-hour days, no sleep. It's not the most glorious position. Obviously on TV, it looks glorious when you work with Master Chef and all these other TV shows. But when you get into the grind of it, you ask any chef, it is extremely, extremely time consuming. And if it's something you want to do, then you can make it happen. But we want to make sure you know that before you get into it. And then the last piece is life skills. So that's things like leadership, communication. Really want to give the students the experience that's real life. So we want them to put on programs where they run the programs. We give them kind of a budget. We let them run with it. We give them kind of the foundation of what they need to work within, just because obviously we have to oversee the project. But we want to give the students the opportunity to really create change. Like for example, if we go to a vineyard that needs help on marketing, we'd help them put together a marketing program, maybe help name one of their products, go through a whole process to what it would take to name it, and give them real life experiences. So those are the 4 pillars. And this is what I talk about when it's not your traditional program. And that gets me into the second piece, which is experiential. The whole point of this is to be hands-on learning. You don't need to learn about a vineyard from reading about the vineyard. We're going to the vineyard. We learn about these things from the entrepreneur, and it's so unique, and I'll tell you about that next within the location. But it's so unique that we're able to learn from entrepreneurs that are building, food tech businesses right now or ag tech companies. We can work with them, help them with some of their programming, because a lot of times what happens is the innovators don't really talk to the end user or the chefs or the people that are in culinary. And so a lot of times they might have great ideas, and it sounds like great ideas, from them talking about it, but until you speak to someone in culinary, it might be really an awful idea. For example, well, it's not an awful idea, but they're making it work. But grasshoppers, eating grasshoppers. I mean, it's one of the technologies that they're learning how to vertical farm grasshoppers. And what makes it a viable product is that there's many countries in the world that actually do eat grasshoppers. So I don't think their focal group is people usually in America or in Israel that don't eat grasshoppers, but it is high in protein, and for countries that need it, it's very important. So our students get to learn hands-on, and something very important. And also not only our students, but the tourism aspect. We see it being as our some of our tourist programs where you can go out, pick your vegetables and produce from the fields of the Galilee, come back to the Culinary Institute, create dishes with top chefs, and really have a good time with friends and family, and really creating unique experiences. Even in our restaurant, we're showcasing the produce of the area, the technology of the area, the innovations of the area. So really a cool way to bring things together under one roof. And that leads me, like I said, to the right place at the right time, which is the region. So much has happened in the region. You have Our Crowd, for those that are not familiar with, who's a crowdfunding platform who's gotten involved. They're creating a food tech incubator in the north. Obviously, JNF is creating a incubator with JBV Partners, which is also a huge venture capital firm. You have Tel Chai, which is the college here, who has like a program in food sciences. Them and Migal are creating a food institute, which helps with a lot of the exploration, creating proof of concepts, a lot of exciting things in the region. So it's really cool seeing this all come together, because within a 10-minute drive, we're able to bring students all over the north to be able to learn from hands-on from the makers, the entrepreneurs, and some of the coolest startups that are happening in the region. Another thing is, when I say the right place at the right time, it really couldn't be a better time than now to get into this, because with everything that's happening in COVID, it's such an opportunity, because of the fact you have culinary institutes that have been around for so long. For them to change, it's very, very difficult. They have a program in place. They're stuck in their ways, and now they're obviously having to change with Zoom and all these other things, obviously, that we have to do with technology and everything that's kind of happening in the real world today. Well, we're able to create programs today that allows you to know what is needed in COVID times and post-COVID times, as well as tourism. So it's so unique that we're able to create that program in mind. Whereas if we didn't obviously know about that, it'd be a lot harder. So obviously part of our curriculum will be online. We always thought about doing an online piece, and we always were figuring out how much of it should be online versus not online. But now obviously it's a lot more clear the percentage that needs to be, and obviously the importance of creating content where we're at. So that's a little bit about what we're creating. You guys can ask me any questions as we go or at the end, but I'll give you a current status of where we're at. So we're looking to start the Institute in the fall of 2022, but we're looking to launch a little earlier with some online stuff before that. So probably early 2022. We did a huge summit on the curriculum. So that's why we really worked with over 100 participants in these 12 sessions, 50-minute sessions, really getting into what works, what doesn't work in culinary institutes. For example, for those that don't know, most culinary institutes only teach French cuisine. Well, that is super old school, and everyone on the panel that we had said, I don't understand why they're still only teaching French culinary. So what a perfect place to not only teach, we're not teaching French culinary besides some of the basics and some of the obviously the pastas and the most important aspects, but we're going to get into ethnicities here in the past, and get into different areas that there's no reason why we shouldn't be getting into them. So, and then the other thing that came out, like was a perfect example I was telling you about, is one of the major professors from the CIA, which is Culinary Institute of America, which is like probably the top program in the world, said, I don't understand why we're having people for 2 years come through our program, or 4 years, before even starting a job, because after the 4th year, only thing that the employees care about is what they learn in year 1. So years 2, 3, and 4, they've already forgotten about, or by the time they get to use that, kind of information, it's rusty and not really able to do it. So that was also one of the things that sparked us, our interest of saying, like, we got to be more flexible and think about, learning in a different way, which is why we decided that we're looking at a 6-month like rotation. We're also looking at ways to let students leave and come back, to really be continual learning. But at the end of the day, our goal is to help the students become successful, and to have the restaurant be obviously a unique experience, as well as the tourism classes that all brings it all, together with a fun experience, kind of highlighting the North and getting people to stay in the North. So if you want to do beer brewing, we'll have a 3-day program, and creating your own beer using flavors from the North, and really having a good times with friends and family and whoever you come with. So that's a little bit about how we came to our curriculum. We've launched our site, which is GalileeCulinary.com, or GCI by JNF. I'm sure we can send you guys the links after. We've created a newsletter, which is launched. I just sent one last Friday. We send it the 18th of every month. It's just an update of kind of what we're doing. We interview someone who's involved or who wants to get involved with the GCI. We do a recipe, and then we talk about like an innovator or a new business, or something else interesting. So it's pretty cool newsletter, which I can share with you guys at any time. We also launched our social media. So we have Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We've locked down the rest, but we're only focused on these 3 in the beginning. And we're also looking to create a TV series and GCI series, which we're going to be doing in the future, but all to come in the near future. So we've also created brand identity. We have a lot of branding. We did a lot of work on that. We've created some great partners. The list is longer, but this was an older slide. But we're constantly getting requests to work with us, which is a very, very good sign. We also have gotten some great PR. For those that don't know, Lior, who's the director behind the culinary side, and he was the one who, it was his vision, him and Russell, who had this discussion, I think 3 or 4 years ago. So he's an amazing guy. For those that don't know Lior, he's done a lot of events for JNF. And then also, like, we signed on Michael Salmanov, who's like the Netflix chef and who's also very famous. He's getting involved in being the ambassador for our first group, meaning that he'll help those first 15 students. And we're looking to create great ambassadors for each group, so that they do have someone to kind of help guide them in their career, as well as open up doors that usually would not be opened. Here's a rendering of the Institute. The building on the left is more on the tourism side. That's where you will have the beer brewery. We'll have a chocolatier, a bakery, cafe, a shop. So that is the building on the left. The building on the right is the restaurant. You see the windows. You basically have a 180 view of the Hula Valley, which is absolutely stunning, where we'll see in the restaurant. And then that whole building is basically our Culinary Institute, where it's all our classes. We also have a auditorium where we bring in chefs from around the world to put on big events where you can see everything they're doing. You have all the cameras over how they're cooking, seeing all the different ways. We're obviously going to be streaming it, creating content, and all that we do. So those are the 2 buildings and some renderings. Here's another view. Here's a view of the restaurant, and these are just renderings. It's not going to be the actual, but these are the renderings we have thus far. Open kitchen concept, where you'll get to see at least part of the kitchen. We open kitchen. Here's the view of one of the auditoriums, where you can get to see the work being done. Here's one of the main classrooms, where you have 15 workstations for the students, where you can create a full meal from. And then you'll have different labs and areas that you can do other pieces. Here's also where we'll have some rooms on site. Right now we have 20. We're working on creating other opportunities. There's some buildings being built in Kiryat Shmona. There's a 500 unit complex, but we'll have rooms on site. JNF is also creating homes there. And what's so interesting about this is, the whole point is to bring people to the North. JNF isn't doing this just for fun. The goal is for people to move to the North, to enjoy the North, to experience the North. And what's unique about this is, even before we've started anything, homes have been sold because the GCI is being put in Kibbutz Gonen. So it's very cool to see that things are already happening before we've even started to build the second building. We have one building already in place where it will be a full renovation. But it's pretty cool to see how things are kind of already working together. So look, my goal here is just to educate you on what we're doing. But look, I'm always happy to help with any questions you guys have in the future, any ways you guys want to get involved. We're happy to get people involved in any way possible. You guys have context. If you love culinary and you just, there's certain areas that you love to get involved in, we're happy to get you involved. I love energetic people that are young that want to be, part of this. So, please feel free to send me an email anytime. It's nhoffman@GCI by JNF. My information is there. I'm sure, everyone here, someone can send out the information after, but happy to take questions and go through anything you guys want to talk about. I think there was a question already in the chat, or I can check. Okay. Are they building? So yes, they're building a medical facility, not a hospital, Adina, just so you know. It's kind of like a first care stop for people that are having any major issue. Yala, I'm ready to visit. Okay, once we open up the borders, please come. Is modern, yes. Concept of food diplomacy. Please give me a little more to what you mean by food diplomacy.
Meaning like building bridges between different communities.
Most definitely. I mean,
food and being a brand ambassador for Israel.
I guess so far you haven't read my newsletter, but that was actually this month's newsletter, which I sent on Friday, which talked about a company called Booza, for those that don't know, which is an Arab and a Jew got together. They love ice cream, so they created an ice cream shop, which is actually quite popular here in Israel. And so that was actually this month's topic: is food brings people together, and that's a major focus on us. So that's why one of our pillars, like I said, is community and culture and ethnicities. It's all kind of roped in one because it's the community we live in, and it's very important for us to. First of all, we're going to be not only bringing ethnicities together, we're also going to be going out into the community to see what is needed and how we can help. So, for example, if there's a grower who has a leftover product and doesn't know what to do with it, and it usually goes to spoilage, we can actually think about, okay, what's a way we can utilize this product, or what can we connect it with, or how can we do something with it to help, whether it's feed the needy in the area or understand kind of the needs of the community. So yes, it's very, very important to us to bring this together. It's also a kosher institute, which is not a marketing point, just so you guys know, because I know kosher is not always the best when it comes to eating. So we're not marketing it as kosher, even though it will be kosher. But what's unique about that is it's inclusive, and that's it's very hard to create an inclusive facility in Israel that isn't open to all Jews. So also obviously I have a long beard, so I am observant, so I'm a little biased. It'd be very important for me to eat there, but we're not obviously going to go crazy with the kashrut. It will be kosher where people can eat there. But the point is that it's inclusive so that everyone can enjoy and experience it, and really, like I said, bring people together, like you said. So it's a great question. Do I have a culinary background? I absolutely do not, which is beautiful, because one of the unique things that that I had a conversation with Russell and Lior, I said after in the interview, I said, look, I am not a culinary professional, but I have no doubts that we can make this happen. My background is business and entrepreneurship, so I like putting things together. I think what's unique about this is both Lior and Russell both said, look, we don't need you to know the culinary, because that's Lior's specialty, and that's where putting the right team in place will obviously come into play. So what's unique about that is they wanted me to come in with kind of a clean slate. So to look at the program without a culinary background in mind. And I have absolutely no culinary background. I can barely create eggs. I'm actually going to try to do it for my wife for her birthday tomorrow morning. Not tomorrow morning, the day after. But please wish me luck, because I'm going to be in big trouble. I have to buy some good bagels. They have one bagel company that's pretty decent. So I'll maybe doctor it up and she'll think I did something good. So no, I have no experience whatsoever, but I do have experience on the startup side. So I worked on several startups in Arizona. I worked on my own stuff. I worked on other people's stuff as well. And I love the culinary. I love what we're doing with culinary. I'm actually not big into food either. So if you gave me a drip with all my nutrients, I'd be happy with that all day so I can do more work, but and spend more time obviously with my family. But that being said, it's very important. Culinary, we have huge Shabbats every week. Well, today it's a little different with COVID, but before COVID, we had huge Shabbats every week, and bringing people together around food, saying l'chaim, having some good drinks, all that is instrumental to bring people together and creating something new. So I think that was the question. Yeah, so that's my connection to culinary. It's in the startup world. Yes, there's plans to work with local producers. It's like I said, the community is so important. So working with the community is everything. So our students will be working hands-on with makers, producers, innovators. We've already met with the incubators already, and they're all on board to let our students work with their teams. Obviously, it has to be the right fit. So we're not going to bring in someone who wants to be a food photographer and bring them to a company that doesn't need food photography. So we're going to be, matching up people with the right positions, helping them develop their career, their network, and to really become obviously ambassadors for the different groups in the area. Yep, farm to table is what we're doing. Basically, we're also working. We'll have our own farm on site, an organic farm, and we're working on all kinds of things, sustainability, and really, creating a sustainable um, business and teaching the responsibility of, obviously sustainability and food systems and, local. And obviously today with COVID, is that much more important to know where your food's coming from and to know that you're getting it from reliable sources. Um, what else do we have here in questions? Grasshoppers and bugs, yes. Um, Kosher, how would be? Yeah. So look, today's day and age, the question was about kosher and not being able to do different cuisines. Today, it's actually quite easy. I've actually asked a lot of different chefs this question. Is it going to take away from our Culinary Institute that we're kosher? And overwhelmingly, the answer has been no, because of the fact today you have so many vegetarian options. You have so many milk substitutes today that it's not very hard to create, parve dishes. Um, Not to mention, we're looking at a technology that will get into substituting um, ingredients so that you can match the texture and everything when it comes to whatever dish you're creating. So we're looking. I can't get into this because it's a long story, but we're looking to partner with an entrepreneur in Jerusalem who is doing this. Whereas you could create any dish and substitute the dish based on different needs. It's part of digital gastronomy. It's very, very cool. But to make a long story short, the answer is no. It won't be an issue. There might actually be a different level in kashrut for the school than the restaurant, which is also something we're looking at, because it doesn't have to be a very high level for the students. The students that are kosher, we can make sure it's kosher. The students who are not kosher, obviously they don't have to worry about certain pots and pans that are kosher or not. So that's obviously something we're looking at. But no, it does not take away from what we're doing. I think it actually increases what we're doing, because it's to say that we can do this in a kosher way is also very exciting for me, because I'm a little biased. Um, Along with Beit Asher, what? Yeah, I mean, the region. It's all. The question was, with everything that's happening in the region, how's the timelines matching up? It's all coming together pretty in unison. Some of the entrepreneurial groups, some of the food tech incubators and accelerators, are happening now. But they're happy, obviously, when we start to be a part of it, and obviously the work starts now, anyways, because we're creating the relationships now. It takes time to create the right relationships, so I'd rather spend the time creating the relationships now rather than all launching together and everyone kind of being kind of off kilter with their start plan. So it's good to have a lot of these start at the same time. Bait Asher has kind of started already because it's with JVP partners. The actual building hasn't started yet, but it's in process. So they'll probably be a little earlier in 2021, but it's all coming together around the same time. We're also looking at a partnership with a food incubator for more established companies. So a company that already has a product that they want to create more of or get into more stores. So they're also looking to come to the north. So a lot of cool things are happening, and the timing, like I said, is pretty perfect. I mean, I'd say for us, a perfect opening would be middle of 2022. We'll probably open a little later than that. But again, I'm all about starting the right way as opposed to rushing it. What other questions? Great presentation. Thank you. Most popular crops used for cooking. I can't really, I don't really know because I'm not a culinary guy. But I will tell you in the north, you do have watermelons, you have peaches, you have avocados. What else have I seen in the north? I think that's the extent, but the north is known for its greenery. It is the most lush area in Israel, and so it has the best terrain for actually produce. So let me see what else. Will there be an opportunity to visit the project? Yeah, God willing, we'll be able to visit it in 2021. We're looking to start the actual building. We have a existing structure, which we're hoping to get the final permits in the next month, which will allow us to start building it in hopefully April of 2021. So we should have some nice pieces ready to go to visit. And we're also figuring out this year. We were going to do a program here because there's also a dining hall right next to the facility. So either at our facility or the place right next to us, we will most likely have an event in the north. And for those that have not met Lior, he's way more exciting than I am when it comes to culinary. So he's the fun guy when it comes to culinary, and I'm just the guy behind the scenes working on the business stuff. So you should definitely do that if you get a chance. Yeah, email. I'll just put it in the chat. Yeah, so the best way to follow the progress is really going to be well, it'll be on our social media, but the newsletter once a month is where I basically give you guys the behind the scenes exactly of what I'm thinking about, what's actually happening. So that's probably the best place, which right now is currently once a month. But that is probably the best place. Social media, they're all going to be tied. So it will be on, I'm sure, all streams of the social media. But yeah, that's kind of the best place to get that information. Anything else? I think that's all I see in the chat.
All right. I think we're going to wrap this up. So thank you, Nathan, for your time today. And thank you all for joining us today. Remember, you're all invited to join us in this important work. You will hear from myself or a JNFuture professional following this event with more information. I'd like to invite you all to meet at our next JNFuture event on January 10th. We'll ring in the new year with a special guided meditation meditation class with Laurasia Mattingly. It's a much needed opportunity to reset your focus and live with intention in the year to come. And remember, you can always stay up to date on upcoming JNF programs by going to jnf.org/on-demand or by following us on social media at JNFuture. Thank you and have a great rest of your Sunday.